All right, folks. I got my hair cut. I'm back. What did I miss? Is everything okay? Nothing? Oh. Horse haircut? Wouldn't that be like a long mohawk? Wouldn't that be a horse haircut? Your hair looks amazing. Oh, Mistress Lynn, you're too kind to me. Turn on the news, any channel, they hit the fucking Pentagon. Good! About time those bastards got what was coming to them. The Pentagon. Do you have any idea how much shit they've done? Oh, that's a lot of people in chat. Vaush, your hair looks moist and sloppy. Well, I did just get out of the shower, so that might contribute to the moistness and the sloppiness, you know. Um, a second stream, Vaush, what sorcery is this? I know, I know, I know. You look like a greaser. All right. I mean, I think it looks good. Like, I don't know. I want to have it so all the hair is going in a big swoop, like not having a part, but I need this hair to get longer first, so... In the meantime... Hey, Vaush, I heard your child slavery tunnels got discovered and put on blast. Yeah, it's you know, the underground, like, what's the term for a underage horse? Kid? No, it's a goat. Foal? Is it foal? Foal? Right? They got me. Foal? Okay, okay, gotcha. I hope you choose violence this time. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that I'm well loved for my firebrand personality, but to be honest, it's just pretty sad. For those of you who don't know, Ethan Klein and his friends over in the H3 pod dedicated about 2 hours of the podcast to doing like the platonic ideal of a bad faith Vaush is a pedophile takedown, including like everything, 5 years ago, like stuff that's been addressed so long that I mean, I didn't see it. I saw people in my Discord talk about it. I didn't want to watch it myself, partly because it would just make me upset, and partly because I was getting a haircut at the time. But like it wasn't even like anything temporal. It was literally just like, fuck this guy. My understanding is that they were even doing like the Tacoma wept jokes and pretending that the Tacoma wept thing wasn't a joke. Like the thing that people pretend to do where they see an obvious joke and act like I'm being serious as a way of implying that it's you know, like cringy or whatever. So if it's reached that level of like indiscriminate shit talking and smearing, then it's obviously not any kind of like pointed criticism. So with that in mind, like what do I even what do I do? The 89th debunk on this? It's nonsense. It's mostly just really saddening because I thought that Ethan Klein and I were on good terms, which I know he made fun of. I think at some point he was like, huh, as if I would ever be friends with this pedophile, which is really disingenuous because the last time we talked on Twitter DMs, he was really friendly to me. Back when I had a channel strike, he talked with me about offering to give me access to his content manager on YouTube so that I could deal with the strike better. And just a little while ago, when he was going through the rounds because he was doing like weird arguments with Hassan about Zionism or whatever, he didn't like a tweet that I had liked. So he reached out to me and asked me about it. We talked for a bit and I disagreed with him. But eventually I moved over and said, oh, okay, and I unliked the tweet at his request. So like every engagement I've ever had with him has been like mutually respectful, and then like randomly this. So yeah, I don't know. People accuse me of not being willing to reach out to people, but holy shit, can you understand why now? Can you understand like why I'm not great at reaching out to people? Holy shit. There's almost always going to be more of a social impetus to turn on me than there will be to like be decent to me, you know? Do you think you can call in and talk it over with them? Maybe this is your ticket in? Nah, well, I mean, if they want me to go on, I will, you know. But with stuff like this, with like after a 2 hour well poisoning, bad faith pedo accusation thing that could have been dispelled by watching any of the innumerable times I've talked about it, it's very obvious that the effort is not to have any kind of like fair dialogue. But rather just to tear me down. I don't mind Ethan covering drama or even not being like aware of everything that I've said, but the degree of bad faith there was like past the point of it being perceptibly mendable, I feel, which I don't know, is very, very saddening. They said to DM the podcast Twitter account if you want to talk. I tweeted, I'm fair to go on, and they, on their thing, said not today, which obviously doing it in a subsequent day kind of like, you know, like the damage is done, but Why is it a recurring thing that you get accused of? Well, for the most part, I think it's just because people hate me. Unfortunately, social bias is a very like inertial process where the more you all remember this probably from high school, or if you're in high school, you know it now, which is people who are disliked because they're disliked because they're disliked. There's clout in disavowing people who are already disliked. So if you benefit from disliking people who are disliked, and so on, right? I don't really think there's another explanation because this was like a fully prepared hit piece, not even some kind of like organic disagreement or upsetness or whatever. One of the things that they did, which, and by the way, I'm hearing this secondhand. So I admit if I'm wrong, then that's on me. I don't want to watch it. Honestly, it would just upset me. But they acted as though the whole horse thing was some kind of like secret that I'm trying to play off as a joke. Like they were like, we found out like he really does like horse dicks or whatever, which to construct that impression, you would need to be willfully dishonest. I have emotes making fun of it. Like that is a level of willful dishonesty that I think it's stuff like that, you know, because it means there's no real sincere effort at I don't know, engaging with or uncovering any kind of drama. It's just an effort at like character assassination. Are you going to watch it on stream? No! To my understanding, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, they didn't say anything that hasn't been said to me before by like Twitter Nazis or whatever. Most of the stuff they said was in content indistinguishable from the most obviously hateful bad faith stuff that I've seen, which means it's already addressed. There are videos on it, you know? That's one of the things that always gets me about stuff like this is that I've never been one to hide controversy, right? I have done and said like I would say fairly sussy stuff in the time that I've been streaming, you know? I have no filter, not to like blame autism or whatever, but clearly like, you know, the way I decide to communicate my intentions and beliefs sometimes differs from what people would prefer I do, whatever, right? And I'm a wacky guy, you know, it is known. So I've said stuff, the initial clips where I was comparing child pornography and child slavery, like, you know, work exploitation, I don't think it's wrong for a person to look at that and go, huh, that's pretty suspicious. And for that reason, I've always tried to be upfront or like clear. If people have an issue with what I've done or said, I always want there to be a video that I can point to, you know? Like, hey, I understand that this looks bad. There you go. Like here, I talk about it extensively. The Thought Slime Meltdown stream, you know, there you go. I talk about it extensively. But usually when hit pieces like this are done on me, there's an effort to make it seem as though I hide everything. You know what I mean? Like all of this is like a deep dive or secret information that has been uncovered that's never been addressed before because I don't want you to see it. And it reminds me very much of the like, I don't know, like Alex Jones, they don't want you to know this thing. It's just like, it's conspiracism for the purpose of making me seem more sinister than I am, you know? I'm a moderate amount of sinister. I you know, I don't think it's you know, I don't think it's broadly I don't think it goes that far. How does Destiny not get anywhere near as much hate as you despite being just as unhinged as you? Well, for just as unhinged as me, honestly. You try to sneak that in, it's because of his good looks and charm. You know, I don't know what to say. You should really watch their segment. They didn't just watch the out of context clips, they watched some of the explanations too. No. Oh, pigeon. Jesus. Leapt across the desk. No. I've done this so many times. So many times. Like, it's been 5 years, guys. 5 years I've done this. And every time it's the same thing. Every time things go down this road, it's always the same collection of like really aggressively bad faith, obviously dishonest. You know, I think at one point, I saw this from the Discord. Somebody said that Ethan said that I had like a folder full of CP or something. What the fuck? Like, what am I, like, what is there to respond to when that's the level? Like, that's the degree of, you know what I mean? Like, it's tiring. People want me to engage with the drama, and I understand your desire to see me constantly beefing, but this isn't a subject that I find particularly gratifying to constantly have to debate over, you know? Especially when everything is, as far as I'm concerned, a fairly well explained and settled issue. It's all been discussed, it's all been deliberated. The only reason a person would decide to make a hit piece on me, especially Ethan Klein, not like just randomly entering in, we've talked, is if things were past discussion. It is just now convenient to hate me. So, Keemstar said the whole folder full of CP things. It's Keemstar. Who cares? It's Keemstar. Wow, who cares? Keemstar. Okay, I don't give a fuck. Ethan Klein. Different people. Different people. My God, I can blur out the disingenuous nonsense from communities that I expect this from. This is one of the reasons why bullying from other people on the left is different and feels different to everyone. I mean, not just me, than like getting attacked from people on the right. If you are, I don't know, a random left-leaning person and some right-wingers say mean stuff about you, it's very easy to write that off because you can go, well, okay, of course, like obviously, other side of the culture war. But with if it's from within the left, there's like a pretense of good faith and fair play that they can use to exploit your you know, your vulnerabilities to an extent. So to that, you know, to that end, like obviously it's going to hurt more coming from Ethan Klein, but I guess it's a mistake that I can only make once with him. What if it's because you're pro-Palestine? No, no, no. It's nothing like that. The bridge can be mended. No, no, no. Guys, come on. I understand you're all viewing this from a content perspective, but I don't find it very funny. Like this is, as far as I'm concerned, it's just another like element of disappointment, you know, stacked up on it. Like, come on, guys. Like, really think about it. Like, seriously. Um, I'm sorry, Vaush. I don't see how you can feel you're being bullied by the H3 podcast. Grow some hair. That's true. That's true. I need to bootstraps my way out of that. The bridge, they said Vaush would probably rape real children. Yeah, there was a degree of bad faith there that is not like addressable on my end, you know? It's like from my side of the river, it's like saying, you know, you can still repair this bridge while it's getting nuked from the other side. It's like there's no, it's not even a bridge, really. Just a wee bit of bad faith. Yeah, yeah, you know. It could also be parasocial desperation as they like you both and not just drama. Oh, yeah, to be sure. I don't think everyone being annoying in chat is doing so, you know, like maliciously or whatever. I do think to some level Dan is orchestrating it and Ethan could be convinced in a conversation. I don't know. I know that Dan is like a Hassan fan and he doesn't like me, and I've known that for a while. I heard from some people in Discord that he was pretending to not know me. Like, I guess a perception that some people have led me to believe that I don't know is true is that he fucking despises me and he kind of like set this up for the dislike, but he wants to pretend that his hands are off it. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I know that people are pretty crazy about me, so it wouldn't be, you know, it's not like completely out of pocket. I mean, I guess I've criticized Dan a few times. There were a few things that he said during the, I don't even remember what the topic was. I'm sure I've criticized him a few times. I mean, you know. Ethan's a grown person, though. Everybody is susceptible to the input of their friends. Vaush, he openly admitted he's been waiting for this moment for years. Did he say that? That's so weird. Why are people so weird? Why? I don't get it, you know? Again, I get a lot of criticism. Maybe he didn't say that. Maybe that person in chat is wrong. Maybe he didn't say that. Need a source for that? Okay, some people in chat are saying they remember him saying that, and other people are saying, I've been sitting on this one for a while is also a direct quote. Sitting on this one for a while. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. For years, what he's been has he been watching Vaush for a while now? Well, what he didn't, he's been waiting for an environment where you could call me a pedophile. You know, he's been waiting for that, like, that rare chance that people online get. He said he kept the Tacoma wept quote for a while. Oh, okay. That one's just funny. People get so weird about that, you know? Seriously, Vauch, you should probably engage with more than this is disappointing. This could actually hurt your outrage. Oh, of course it can. Obviously, it goes without saying that this is like an egregious attack on my career. But first of all, putting that as the first argument is kind of disingenuous, I feel. Like, there are plenty of things that even I've done that hurt my career, like, constantly. There are plenty of positions that I could take or arguments I could make. Maybe they would be disingenuous, but they would benefit my career. The real problem for me, I guess, is that this is kind of just a reaffirmation of the idea that I should never really look to outreach to anyone for any reason. Which I guess is true and has been true for a while. No, I'm not talking to a lawyer. Come on. Why do you never sue people over stuff like this? First of all, because it's not a case. And second of all, come on. Come on. People they rush to that, you know. Maybe you're British. Maybe if everyone was in England, sure. But like no. Come on. You know, you could ignore all of this for 2 weeks and it'll go away. Not everything works that way. I mean, even if that was the case, I think I'm entitled to feel, you know, pretty hurt by how things have happened. Vaush, I hear starting a lawsuit against Ethan Klein is a surefire way to success. Mm-hmm. Vaush, Destiny's response to this: you have to know that I don't care. Why do people in chat keep talking about Hassan? When did Hassan even come up? Hmm. I think, given the negativity of the hour, I think I'm entitled to ban frivolously. So I will. It's just so bizarre that Ethan spent 5 months being clipped out of context by bad faith people framing him as a Zionist and his wife as a baby killer than he did around... Yeah, like, I know for a fact that Ethan Klein has had a long and storied career of doing and saying objectionable things, a lot of which he's tried to move past. Imagine if I, like, out of nowhere, brought a bunch of people on and went through a pre-curated clip show of every, like the most insanely bad faith, like, clip chimps or screenshots imaginable, so that everyone watching it could like jeer and crow it and go, oh, dude. And the whole time I'm pretending that I like just dug it up. Like, Ethan Klein's been hiding this from you and I am now procuring it. I have investigated and this is what he's been hiding from you, as opposed to it being like a very over discussed thing from his end. That's what he did to me. And I don't know, it seems kind of bad. If you don't want to discuss this, what's up with the title of the stream? I am discussing this. It's the only thing that I've discussed, as a matter of fact. He did watch the context for a lot of your clips. I'm afraid I don't believe that's true. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. I'm sure he like procured snippets of me talking about it, and then they all like talked over it to disagree with it. But I don't believe that. Not to mention, like, you know, you could just have me on. Vaush, that's exactly what happened. Okay, yeah, yeah. That would be my guess. Yeah. Um, you know, unless you are, unless you're really engaging with an explanation, the cutout explanation itself is just another thing to clip chimp. You know what I mean? You can take a clip chimp and then a person tries to justify it or explain it or add context, and then you clip chimp that explanation and then go, ah, well, what an ineffective defense of the original video. I guess they really are cooked. I know that what I've done and what I've said is justifiable because I've justified it, and people in chat who have no reason to like or defend me outside of the fact that I'm charismatic, handsome, charming, awesome, have all right opinions, etc. I mean, you know, this is like a discussed issue, a tested subject. I don't think that, like, with respect, a crowd of jeering idiots have like pierced that set of explanations with a an effective rebuttal. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. Yeah, Jackster, it's pretty unfortunate. They literally pulled up your debate with non-compete from non-compete's POV and they agreed with him. So by they, you mean Dan, right? Non-compete is like a tanky YouTuber that Ethan and normies probably wouldn't engage with. And my channel is far larger than his. So if you, and they both contain the same content. So the only reason you would get that content from his stream rather than mine, kind of suggests that there was some kind of like prior bias there. I don't know. It's, man, it feels so disingenuous. What even happened in that convo? I mentioned that Luna Oi called me a pedo, and then I said no, and then I explained the difference between rule and act utilitarianism, but he was like interrupting me and wouldn't listen. I don't know. This is a lesson to any aspiring streamers out there. If you're going to talk about moral hypotheticals, don't go immediately to the most extreme and attention-grabbing argument possible. It doesn't work out in your favor in the long run. Was that the one where he rage quit? Yes. I'm not looking at it, Trimray. Order what kind of question is that? Are you still going to talk to him a future podcast if the damage has already been done? As a product largely, I guess, of my arrogant belief that I can always effectively convey myself no matter how bad the environment, I will still go on if I am invited on, but the well is so poisoned that in all likelihood, the only thing I could ever do if going on would be to act out the role of a flustered buffoon failing to defend himself against a crowd of people jeering at him, you know? There's a big difference. Like if there was any sincere interest in getting my perspective on it, why did it play out like this? Obviously there isn't. The only reason that I would come on would be to play that stooge. Now, do I think I could play that stooge so effectively that I might actually help them understand or maybe get across to Ethan maybe? Because I'm delusional? Maybe, I don't know. But it's not a role that I particularly enjoy taking. You know, that's not the role that I want to play. I wonder why, James McQueen. It was insane how explicitly anti-intellectual they were while watching a clip of you explaining rule utilitarianism. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I can imagine even which one it was too. Yeah, um, pretty dumb. What's your plan moving forward from this? I'm I'm just going to keep doing what look, I like the politics. I'm not, none of the, look, I've said this before, and I feel like maybe it comes across as conceited, but it's also true. A lot of people legitimately could not handle this level of stress. The eye of so many people of such hatred and scrutiny, and obviously it is stressful. But I love the game. I do it for the love of the game, okay? I'm out here with 15 injuries on the bench, but I love playing ball. I like streaming. You know, I'm not going to let this nonsense deter me. We're coming up on, well, we're not coming up on, we're in an election year. You know, there's work to be done. There's stuff to cover. There's opinions to offer. It's important. As brutal as it is, Biden has to win. You know, as much as he's done to negatively impress himself upon me, he has to win, or at least Trump has to lose, you know, God willing, some kind of miracle candidate. But no, it's Biden and Trump. Work has to be done. Canvassing has to be done. People have to be sent out. Cheese wheels have to be procured. And I have always done all of this, having to fight more of an uphill battle than basically anyone else. The amount of hate and vitriol that I get, but I still love it. And I'll keep with it, you know, as best as I can. YouTube chat's going crazy from what I've seen. That's the point of YouTube chat, Tron Panda TKS. That's the purpose. It's the moat, you see. But again, nothing changes that. You know, there's always work to be done. And you know, as frustrating as it is, I really do think that like a fair engagement with my content, with what I believe and what I say, I really do think that most reasonable people of good political disposition will see that, and upon contact with me, watching my stuff, talking to me, whatever, like anything, you know, will think I'm all right. I do think that, you know, I don't think that I'm as repellent as my reputation would indicate. I think that for the most part, I'm a jolly fellow, even if I no longer have the belly to go with it. And, you know, I want to keep it going. H3 fans are watching and posting in the subreddit. I know. Welcome to the stream, Benjamin. You might want to go back to the beginning and catch up at 2 times speed. No, Dylan the villain. That's what the rewind function is for. That's what YouTube is good for. I think something they didn't understand and didn't make clear is that you were debating someone who was for the things you argued against. They made it seem like you said this out of nowhere. You're being very vague. Do you mean the like child pornography versus child labor in foreign countries thing? Yeah, people like to say, bro, why does this keep coming up with you? When they don't understand, other people bring it up, which is what's happening now. You know, like all of this gets logged as like, why does he keep talking about it? Because people keep bringing it up. People bring it up in debates. People bring it up in chat. It gets addressed over and over, but people bring it up. So of course it gets discussed. The alternative to discussing it in those situations is to just like ignore it. But ignoring it makes me look bad because it makes it look like I'm avoiding the, you know, like he's hiding. You're running, you know. So it's a completely unwinnable dynamic where either other people dictate the nature of the bad faith engagement endlessly, or I come across like a, you know, coward or whatever. Well, I love you too, Z-Match Cap. Well, maybe Mania. I don't know. That's wonderful, Drake Bryn. Ethan literally said the thing you do is admit you have sexual deviant problems and go to a therapist. You mean with regards to the horse thing? What would I tell a therapist? They'd be like, okay, I don't understand. What is that? I don't even know what that suggests. It's literally a joke, man. The horse thing is not a joke. We can't let this be smeared, okay? If to whatever extent, you know, people can say, oh, we place it off as this or that, okay? I'll make it clear. You can write this down. I want to fuck a woman as a horse. None of this is a secret. To be clear, you know, many jokes have been made about this, but I stand by it. My moral principles are rock solid. My feet are firmly planted in the ground. I've got my boots up. They're planted firmly. You cannot move me from my position. This isn't a secret. Let's talk to a therapist. Well, why do you want to be the horse, Vaush? Because then I'd have a giant dick. Okay, couldn't you have a big dick the other way? Well, yeah, I could. Like, yeah, I could have a big dick hypothetically in any variety of scenarios, but then it wouldn't really be a horse dick. Well, you could be a human with a horse dick. Yes, but then I wouldn't have that powerful stallion energy using it. There you go. That's it. That's the whole thing. Speak your truth, force. Spit that shit. You know, people trying to make a thing out of that, like this can get me. Honestly, as long as you don't actually harm horses, a therapist won't be used. Well, if they ever develop some kind of invasive surgical procedure that does in fact harm a horse, but allows my consciousness to be transferred into their brain, then we might have an issue. When we get the Freaky Friday Vaush horse brain swap scenario, when that's on the table. So this, I assume this is like a Neuralink thing. So you should all be watching Neuralink with, like, you know, with bated breath, because that's the real avenue by which moral harm can be done here. Well, yeah, it's Keemstar, Njord. I understand, but please fix your collar. Fix my... What do you fix my collar? It's a bomber jacket. What do you... Fix my collar? What do you... Wait. Collar gap? There's no collar gap. What do you mean collar gap? They say you downloaded Lolicon. Deliberately disingenuous framing. I'll explain the whole thing. For those who don't know, 4 days ago, I was doing what I do, which is showing chat men's formal wear and talking at them about it for hours on end. And I was going to open up an image with right-click, open a new window, but instead I did right-click, save as. And it opened a folder called To Be Sorted. The To Be Sorted folder, which is where I put images that have yet to be sorted, and in case the name didn't indicate that, was the place that it went to because the file type of the image, which was like, I don't know, JPEG or something. I don't know. The last image that I saved to the To Be Sorted folder was an image of Marcel from Dungeon Meshi being roasted by Gordon Ramsay while cooking a mandrake. Hold on. Let me show you the architect of my pain. I am the architect of all your pain. That's from the Bond movie. You know what I mean, right? Marcel, Gordon, Ramsay. There we go. It's a good anime, guys, and a good manga. Anyway, I saved that there. And it opened up the folder preview, which showed thumbnails of images that I had in there. A lot of which were pornographic, most of which, though there were some non-pornographic images, including Reagan Ripley from Inside Job standing around in a bikini, I think. I don't know. And non-pornographic canon images of Rauru from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is funny because there are far more pornographic images of Rauru in there than there are non-pornographic images. But honestly, Rauru just looks so good that even non-pornographic images feel pornographic to me. Yeah, an innately pornographic character design. Why would you keep your porn on the stream queue? It's to be sorted. I'm not arguing this with you guys anymore, okay? Yeah, we get it. The most potent roasting, you know, oh, well, why even say, I don't want to argue with you guys about it, okay? Because it's a To Be Sorted folder, which had the taxes in it, you know, whatever. Also, which need to be sorted. I don't get what's complicated about it. Anyway, of the images that showed, 2 of them were from the same artist. 2 of them, those from that artist turned out to be a lolicon. One of the 2 images, now, unfortunately, talking about this is always like a double-edged sword because I can't show to defend myself, nor would I encourage you to go look it up because this is a lolicon artist, so I don't like want to direct you to that, you know? But one of the two images from this lolicon artist, okay, to be clear, one of them flatly did not look like lolicon. I'm sorry, you can say it's defensive. I think that's bullshit. I literally went back and looked. The chick is like 6 heads tall. She literally, like, it's like, apparently the reason why people have said that is because it's a drawing of a VTuber. And the VTuber is usually drawn as a loli. But in that case, that's blaming me for a drawing that's not the drawing that was in there. So I completely reject that line of logic. It just looked like a normal drawing. Cope, it's all okay or none of it is okay. What does that mean? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you mean when you say that. I don't like it's this is one of the reasons why stuff like this is impossible to clarify, because even talking about it comes across as like crazy defensive or whatever, right? But what else am I supposed to do? Let people like Ethan Klein lie and say that it was all like a folder full of lolicon, or just explain it, you know? Anyway, one of the two images just flatly didn't look like loli. I don't give a shit. Like Cope, Diamond, I just don't care. Like disingenuous shit, you know? The other one is like a threesome with 2 chicks and a guy. And in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that that artist is a lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn. You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography. But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right? That was the vibe that I got, because in the image, the girl that's shown has super thick legs and has like tits and a belly. So that's just the vibe I got. But now knowing that the artist is a lolicon, which I have been roundly reminded of, obviously knowing that it was intended to be a loli drawing. So like, that's how it is, right? It's a drawing, you get it without context. I know that when I saved them because both the drawings have like a meaty dick in it, and I'm a huge size queen. So like you look at it in retrospect and it's like, okay, well now with the broader context, I can understand how it comes off that way. Even if initially or like at first glance, the vibe would be more thick short stack. But you'll notice, has anything that I've just said sounded like it would even remotely convince the kind of people who are intent on smearing me over this? No. And frankly, the effort to defend it from my perspective comes across as exactly what you would expect anyone to do or say given the situation, right? The only other position a person would take if they were self-interested would be to just like deny altogether, which I mean, you know, different people are going to like engage with that to different extents, obviously, but there's no way to talk about it in a way that meaningfully exonerates my behavior, you know? This has, of course, led to a bunch of robust discussion in my community on the nature of lolicon porn, which is fantastic, guys. Just fantastic. That's great. You know, it's a banned topic from Discord for a reason, because every fucking wannabe philosopher king is like, well, I'm interested in the ethics of fuck off, okay? And what's more, in addition to that, like on Twitter, all the Nazis who are like attacking me over this, all of them are saying shit like, I'm not mad at him for having loli porn. That's based. I'm mad at him for the hypocrisy. I've seen at this point, by the way, literally dozens of screenshots of tweets that some of you guys helpfully throw my way. Thank you so much for keeping me involved on all the action, where they're effectively saying, you know, like, oh, we don't give a shit about lolicon, right? It's just we hate Vaush, which is like, fuck, hi. Like they're just looking for affirmation, you know? So, and what am I supposed to do with that? Honestly, Vaush, all hentai is just indefensible. Yeah, no kidding. Especially because, like, dude, there are so many fucking pedophiles who draw hentai. You have no idea. You could be looking at, like, an 8 heads tall woman with, like, an hourglass shape and big tits, and then you, like, look up the character, and the character's 14. It's like, well, all right. Okay, all right. And then you just have to walk out, you know? Like, so it's truly a blighted subject altogether. Yeah, no shit, Jackster. It's a game where the only winning move is not to play. With regards to hentai, yes, for sure. Yeah, Vaush, I keep seeing random people say, if Vaush watches loli, why does he call Nazis pedos? To be honest, in addition to the Ethan Klein, what I would call betrayal, I'm okay with calling that. You know, one of the things that really bothers me is that a lot of these lolicons genuinely seem to think that everyone is a loli. They're doing, I said this before, they're doing the thing that racists do with racism, where they think that everyone is racist secretly. They're just the one with the balls to like admit it. So a lot of these lolicons think that everyone is, but like they're the only ones with the stones to own up to it or whatever. And you know, obviously this is like genuinely repulsive, but I guess, you know, they were already like that, so that's not on me. Still repulsive though. I once had images on my laptop of anime characters in a college setting, and my brother thought it was CP and made a whole thing of it. Ah, that fucking sucks. Yee. Yeah, look, again, like it's always going to be a broader discourse thing or whatever. If I've even made jokes about this in the past, okay? If you watch anime or go to any fucking hentai site, you are going to be bombarded with sussy shit, which is why for the most part I stick to furry drawn porn because it doesn't have anywhere near that issue. I don't think that like if you're randomly like browsing through a dojin and you see some like Fate Grand Zero Gunner shit where everyone has giant tits or whatever, and then like later you learn somehow that one of the canon characters that was drawn as this buxom woman is actually 17 and canon. I don't think this is like a moral sniper round that is like entered your skull and liquefied your brain. I don't think that's like, ah, well, it's over. Like this is a broader systemic issue with the depiction of like I guess anything anime related, but also the way people fetishize youth. The thing that I've always said that I stand by entirely is that if you're into lolicon, like people always say this. People always say, "Bro, it's just drawings." Okay, drawings of what, right? Civil War. Okay, states' rights over what? You know, why are you into that? What elements of that are you into? You know, and I think there's no way to answer those questions without at least being somewhat introspective about the underlying issues. You know what I mean? Like that ultimately is the issue. And I think a lot of them are pretty straightforward with it. Taser, there's nothing to discuss. It's Fate Grand Order. You gotta, oh, right. Sorry. It's Re-Zero, not Fate Grand. Yeah. Okay. You fuse two things. I've never seen Fate Grand Order. I've watched Re-Zero and it's garbage. Oh, speaking of sussy shit, Re-Zero, very sussy, by the way. Two of the love interests are like identical loli twins or whatever. I didn't know that before because people kept telling me, bro, Re-Zero is this like dark, edgy, like isekai. It's this dark, edgy isekai that's like satirical. It like it's like dark and like edgy and stuff. And then you look at it and it's the most like godless fucking isekai shit you've ever seen in your life, but with more blood. God Almighty. Yeah, I want to watch Free Run. Free Run. A Free Run? I don't know. Yeah. You haven't discussed your dark interest in Dark Willow from Dota 2? I've seen people making Dota 2 memes. Is one of the nude characters from the porn that I was looking at from Dota 2? I haven't played Dota 2. I think I played it like once with some friends. The red-haired girl? Oh yeah, that was good art. Anything from the what the oh yeah yeah yeah. For those of you who don't know, one artist was featured more than others in the porn thumbnails that showed up in my folder called Ludpoi, who is a very talented artist. And when they were made aware of the fact that the whole leak happened or whatever, they reposted the images. Here, I'm going to link it in chat because I can do that. I'm allowed to. Hold on. There we go. They reposted the images, or at least some of them, that they made that showed up in the thumbnails, which was incredibly fucking funny. Ew, Vaush. Ew, what the fuck is ew? This is gorgeous art. It doesn't exist? What do you mean it doesn't exist? I don't know. To touch on a small portion of this, someone was trying to say that Alfie was a loli during this discourse on Twitter. Really? The fucking halfling? Okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay, Vaush, the foreskin thing is weird. I don't care. I don't care. You think you can you think there's anything that you can harm me with after all of this? You think yeah, hey, this painting of a chick like licking a cock, but like the tongue goes out of foreskin, like, oh, that's weird. Do you think you have anything on me? I don't even I'm fucking circumcised, so it's not even a thing, you know. Mm-hmm. I thought your parents were atheist. Basically everyone in America um gets circumcised. Vaush, you have giant stones for speaking about this openly about sex stuff and all the world we live in. Most apologies would just pussyfoot around this stuff. This is the thing that always gets me is that every time somebody wants to target me, every time somebody wants to attack me, they pretend that I'm like dawdling along while my community is sort of like cluelessly is sheltered from all the like. How do you watch my streams or even my videos without engaging with every fucking bad faith attack made against me? You know, they don't. And if I ever did do anything that I genuinely thought was really fucked up, by the way, everyone would say this, so it's not like unique to me. Like, don't celebrate me saying this, but I believe this about myself. If I did something that I thought was really fucked up, I'd like to believe that I'd like to be straightforward with it so it could be a kind of collective lesson. I don't know. I mean, everyone would say that, right? Everyone would say, you know, like, oh, when I make a big mistake, I'll be open and straightforward with it so we can all be da da da. But like, yeah, obviously. Yeah. You did with Poppy, which I have great respect for? No, I didn't. Not at first, at least. It took me a while. Eventually, I was honest about that, but I was so terrified early on of just like public scrutiny and of being attacked publicly. At first, I was so afraid that I was like, I ran from it to an extent. I think that eventually I was pretty straightforward about it. But it took me a while, and since then I've tried to not do that. What? Who's Poppy? Ah, see, that's what being open gets you. Before I even had a channel, there was a girl on Discord I was creepy to, like harassing her. I was not intended at the time, like I didn't think I was harassing her, but I was being pretty weird to her. Okay. Anyway, it ended up blowing up into a big thing immediately after I started streaming. It was the first real drama of the channel, and at first I was really afraid of like, guys, respectfully, you have no idea how it feels to know that 10, 100, 1,000, 100,000 millions of people are like smearing you or watching smears of you. It's psychologically difficult to grapple with at times. At the time, the stakes were relatively small, but I was so scared back then. Eventually, I did, I think, the best of my ability, own up to it and was straightforward. But that terror got me for a while. And I think I learned from it, at least to the extent that from this point forward, I have avoided the terror, or well, not avoided it. I try not to like run from that like engagement, especially because in a lot of cases, the bad smearing comes from stuff I didn't actually do, or from bad faith attempts to smear my character, you know? On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 just being any other drama, 10 being this is Vaush's 9/11, how bad do you think this is for you? I don't want to tempt fate, but this feels like pretty near as bad as it gets. I liked, at least for me emotionally, I liked Ethan Klein, and I didn't realize that I was on the chopping block in such a disingenuous way. But I don't know. I don't know, Vaush. Blatant bestiality isn't really something most people are okay with, regardless of why you like it. Hey, first of all, drawn, not even drawn, AI generated, didn't even show the good horse cock when I saved the image to the thing, I swear. To be honest, I guess I don't care about what other people have to say about the whole I think it'd be hot to fuck a chick as a horse thing. It sounds weird to say out loud. To me, in my mind, it's just like, yeah, obviously, you're a horse. Like, rad, you're a horse, dude. I don't really care what other people's assessment of that is, to be honest. It doesn't really mean anything to me. Yeah, it just sounds weird. Well, that's what I guess overwhelming confidence will do to you. It'll let you say stuff like that confidently. Also, not again, this is one of those things that people say when they sound defensive, but like pretty sure if you get down like deep into people's brain nuggets, a lot of people got weird fucking kinks. Not like morally wrong necessarily, but weird shit they couldn't really explain. The difference between them and me is that I get put on public trial for it. None of this would be of public issue if it wasn't for people like collating leaked Discord logs of me saying I like horsecock. At every point, this has been a product of other people's hatred of me. I just roll with it. I don't like act like ashamed or like run from it or whatever, because if I did that, then it would be giving them power over me, and I don't like that. And also, I'm fine with it, I guess, like conceptually. So, like this, as always, this is stuff that has been forced upon all of us collectively, like, discursively. So, yeah. I think another good example is pyrocynical, right? Doesn't pyrocynical like, I don't know, fat, inflation, furry, fart porn or whatever? And when people realized it, he kind of like leaned into it to make a joke out of it. Wasn't that way better? Wouldn't it have been like way worse if he had, I don't know, fucking like disavowed or like what, just any kind of crazy denial? I don't know. I guess it's just cool when people own that shit, even if I'm not even remotely into it, as is the case for him. He doesn't like inflation or farts, but it stuck as a joke. Okay, so it's just like fat furry stuff. Okay, gotcha. It just turned into the meme. Okay, okay. Vaush, they took old Discord texts of you talking about horsecocks in 2018 and said you were typing that way to your fans. Your channel started in 2019, right? Yes, my channel started in 2019. Those messages would have been on Destiny's Discord server while I was irreverently chatting sex with the large number of other people in there doing the same thing, as I remember it. 6 years ago. The messages were from 2016, Vaush. Okay, I've been doing it for a while. Best regard was talked about during this stream. You'll have to rewind a little bit. Oh. I thought I had a message, but it was just a fucking pop-up. I read the Poppy chats and it's amazing. Made me realize how much weirder I've been in the past. Like, it was so incredibly tame what Vaush did, but yes, bad, but wow, I've been worse. I think one of the reasons why it's really important to be open and straightforward and like very engaged with bad stuff that you've done is every human who has reached an age of more than 10, I don't fucking know, every like adult human has done stuff that's probably not morally on the up and up. In a lot of cases, it's just we tend not to treat people excellently. you know, especially when we're teenagers, but even for our whole lives, really. And I think that the only way to confront that is to acknowledge that it's a thing people do so you can identify what in it went wrong and kind of like engage with it. A lot people often compliment me for being charismatic. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you for me to bring that up of you in the general in the in the abstract. But like a lot of so once more deferring to something people often say to excuse their bad behavior, I am autistic. I don't think it influences my behavior when it comes to stream stuff too much these days, but you know, people are how they are. And for a long time, I had a much harder time reading other people's intentions than I do now. And because of that, I often treated them kind of badly. I had girlfriends that I treat, and by treat them badly, by the way, and I mean basically just being inconsiderate. Like I was not good at understanding how people felt. And for that reason, you know, I was often like a bad partner, a friend, or whatever. And one of the things that shook me out of that was the poppy drama, believe it or not, because my bad behavior there and all of the scrutiny that I got, all the shit that I got, which at the time felt overwhelming, made me think, how could I have such a different version of that conversation that we had in my head than she did? How could there be such a big difference between how I thought that all went down and how other people saw it from the outside in? You know? And I think that thinking about that kind of led me to think about a more other person first way of thinking, to think of other people's behaviors and words not as a thing for me to respond to, but rather as a coded expression of what they feel. And I need to engage with that. So rather than a person saying something and me like, oh, this is what they said, I'll respond to what they said. What people say is intended as like a expression of underlying feelings and beliefs, which language is good at communicating, but not perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. Very verbose, charismatic people tend to be better at communicating their inner thoughts than other people, but nobody can do it perfectly. So the goal should be in a conversation, this is what they've said. What do they mean? Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a rounded, yeah. It like rounds to the nearest point. You want to find out the true meaning of the statement. And once you can identify that and engage with that, you know, you can respond in a way that better meets their needs. And it goes both ways. It's the exact same thing as like if you're talking with your partner and they say like, oh, how you doing today? And I say, I'm fine. You don't want them to go, oh, okay, and then go back to doing what they were doing. You would want them to go, oh, hey, is something wrong? Because the tone with which you said, I'm fine, indicates that you're baiting them to ask more or be sympathetic or give you a hug or something, right? We all want this from each other. It's just a matter of trying, I guess, or of putting the effort in. And that's something that I try to convey to you guys now. And that's one of the reasons why even when I'm very stressed, I put effort into trying to be as clear as possible. Don't always succeed, but I try. And why I think everyone should, you know, put effort into, you know, you're a very good person. It's not just like being a good person. It's actually in everyone's self-interest. Think of it as a component of the social contract. We all want to be engaged with in this way, right? You know? So it just, everything works better. I think that it's a component of being a good person, but ideally like everyone would get in on this, I guess. And I'm not perfect at it, you know, but I think it's always something to try for. So what is Ethan really saying when he calls you a pedophile? You know, that sounds like a joke message, but I wish I knew the answer. I don't think that not being autistic would tell me, though. Yeah, I wish I knew the answer to that. I wish that I could look at that and determine some kind of underlying meaning that I could grapple with rather than just the external, like, really bad faith hysteria against me. Um, but unfortunately, I just haven't been given the material to do that. You even defended him in the past. To be clear, I don't think that defending a person means that they're obligated to overlook bad things you've done. I do, however, think that if a person's been consistently charitable to you, mutual charity is good. And the issue here ultimately is very bad faith, right? Like you'd want the good faith to be mutual, but I would never expect a person to not like for example, you know, like if Ethan just randomly got bombarded with a bunch of like out of context clips of me and he felt like weird about that, that's fine. The whole point of the out of context clips is that they make me look bad, right? Like I'd be like if he even talked about that. But of course, obviously, you know, it would be preferable to engage with me in some kind of good faith way. If someone made a 2-hour stream going through all of Ethan's bad moments throughout the years, he could be made out to be a psycho if someone wanted to. Yeah, I mean, I think so, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not trying to engage in some kind of like reciprocal bad faith thing. It's just, you know. I think your arrogant attitude makes people really want to take you down a peg and scrape the bottom of the barrel to find reasons to. Maybe to an extent. I agree that if I was more timid, people would be a little bit less hard on me. I don't think I come across like crazy arrogant. I think that I make a lot of jokes, and I'm obviously a confident person. I mean, the line between confidence and arrogance is obviously completely fucking arbitrary, so people are going to say what they say. Don't complicate it. He used you for content. I guess, maybe. Yeah, I can understand that, Tron Panda TKS. Now you come across as very arrogant, Vaush, but I think it's funny. Well, as long as you find it funny. Do you like my haircut, too? I think it's nice. Exactly what I wanted. I need to trim my beard. Looks good. Thank you. You didn't get your beard trimmed with a haircut? Only I trim my beard. Vaush, you have an untrustworthiness vibe. You know, that does hurt to hear. I don't think I do, and I think I put a lot of effort into coming across sincere, but I guess I can't really help that. No, if they feel that way, that's their feeling. It's arbitrary. It's not like an empirical qualifier. We're not arguing about my weight or my height. And a lot of people clearly don't trust me. Does this confirm you're a power top? That was already known. What other impression have I given? Thanks, Thudding Horns. I appreciate that, Ectoplasmic. Does this shit, like, actually affect real-life relationships? I don't like to talk about stuff like this, but I can fairly say that the negativity that I experience online has had negative consequences in almost every element of my life. But there was so much positivity in my life anyway that still things are going pretty amazing. That's why I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'm not walking around depressed every day or whatever, you know? I've got amazing friends and family and da-di-da, you know? I get to do a really cool job. I make more than enough to make a living, and I get to help out other people too, friends, people I employ. Sure, there's negativity, but, you know, I could deal with negativity in any job, right? I could be like a service worker and have my day ruined by some shitty customer, or get ankle issues from having to stand on my feet all day. There's always negativity, you know. I'm insulated from a lot of it as a consequence both of class privilege and the fact that I have a very wonderful community that I can defer to when other people are being unreasonable. So yes, there is a lot of negativity. I don't want people to get the impression that it's like the dominant force in my life broadly. Of course, the past few days have been in a bad mood because all this bullshit because of a to be sorted folder. Honestly. Most of the frustration has been with myself, though, at least until this. I'm pinning this to Ethan Klein. Nobody made him do this or act this way. That's on him. But still. How does this negativity affect your fans when dealing with others? I mean, a lot of people in my community have claimed that they've gotten into fights with people online or even in person over liking me. So clearly there's, you know, I don't make it easy for my community to express their interest in me. When I heard about all the pedophilia, bestiality, racism, and liberalism, I thought I'd like Vaush, but none of it ended up being true. Yeah, massive disappointment to fans of bestiality, pedophilia, racism, and liberalism. That I am, in fact, on the ball, leftist, upstanding, wholesome citizen. You know, I got kicked out of Young DSA for it. Yeah. Hmm. Are you going on to defend yourself? If I am invited on, which they have kind of, but if I am invited on, then I will go on, even though I feel like I'm being set up to play the fool here. Because, you know, because I am confident in nothing else, if in my ability to communicate. Will anything good come of it? I mean, I don't know. But what kind of guy would I be if I didn't go on, you know? You can't make it worse, TBH. Yeah, I guess that's true. You know, to an extent. Yeah, it's true. How much more do you poison the well? Maybe hyperbolic. Maybe. What, Jimmy? Oh man, people are crazy about me, and they not there, I guess. That's true, Mortaray. You know, we have some prior evidence to this fact, and right now, basically every time somebody comes on to talk about or debate me or whatever, and they're like, well, you're a pedo, and I end up talking to them, they end up understanding and agreeing with my point when I'm done making it, you know? With regards to like the child labor thing. In the comparison that I was making. I remember the time that happened that was the absolute funniest was when I had a Proud Boy on who later got arrested for being at the Capitol during January 6th. He lied and said, no, 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 no. It was post January 6th, but he lied and said he wasn't there, but he got arrested for it later. Suspect Sushi, I remember, yeah. And he brought it up too. We were arguing and he like eventually, as people like him oft do, deferred to, well, you're a pedo. And I sat down and talked with him for like 5 minutes on it. He was like, yeah, okay, I guess I get your point. Like, man, if I can convince a fucking Proud Boy who was at the Capitol on Jan 6th that it's an out of context, you know, clip chimp, then fuck, I mean, that's something. Oh, really, Superjet guy? Hmm. Okay. Could you email me about that? Lol, Ethan admitted you're such a good debater. If he had you on, he'd end up agreeing with you. I doubt he phrased it exactly that way. Thanks, Icky3. I still don't like rewarding that behavior. Ethan can get fucked. Look, I'm pretty mad at Ethan, but that anger is fruitless. I can't do anything with or about it. I could go on there and construct the best arguments you've ever seen, but we're not kids here, right? This isn't a shower argument. Not everyone's going to clap after. It doesn't work that way. You know, the main thing I'm concerned with is, frankly, there's just a lot of people in Ethan's audience who I think have the wrong idea about me. And I think that some of them might be pulled over, you know, not all. The well's been pretty poisoned, but some of them. And I think it's important to do that, not only because it's beneficial to me from an obvious career perspective, no denying that, but also because it's an election year, you know, all hands on deck. It is going to get bad. It is bad. You know, this is not the time that I want to be doing this kind of petty drama, circular firing squad bullshit. I guess I'd have a little bit more tolerance for it, but I keep thinking in my head, that's it, we're on the grind now. No more of this bullshit, like we're doing the election year. It's election year, let's fucking go. And then something happens, something. Honestly, Fortress Arc might need to return. People criticized me for that, man. People, if nothing else, let this be a sterling example of how right I was to be incredibly disposed against reaching out to people or making friends or engaging with others. Because damn, dude, like of all of the people who I thought I was solid with, Ethan Klein was pretty far up there. This is out of the blue for me. So maybe it's an autism thing. Maybe I can't read the signs. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think this is just kind of random, at least from my perspective. I didn't have the information necessary to anticipate it. So, you know, like, Jesus, fuck. You make a friend, but it turns out there's almost always more clout to be found than performatively tearing you down. This is like Contra all over again. Yeah, well, this is a lot worse than the Contra thing. But yeah, fundamentally, another person with whom I had no... It keeps happening! Legit question, how do you react so fast when the porn folder came up? Did you have a foot pedal kill switch? No, actually, knowing to cut stream immediately and quickly is actually a skill live streamers get, especially if they have call-ins, because there have been literally hundreds of people I've had on stream who I was positive were about to drop the N-bomb. So I'll have my my Twitch reflex for snapping the mouse over to the end stream button is it's a fairly well developed streamer talent, I'd say. NASDAQ, I'm sorry. I'm stupid and weak. What can I say? There are, Benjamin, yeah. What makes this worse for you than the Contra Stitch? I mean, it's a 2-hour fucking character assassination, calling me a pedophile to a massive audience, you know, from a person that I quite recently thought I was on good terms with, you know, Jesus, fuck. But Contra did the same thing fundamentally. There's just too many people who despise me, who are, you know, inclining their friends and coworkers to think the same way. Will you watch their video for yourself if you're invited on? No. Think about it rhetorically. Put everything I've said into practice, all the lessons, okay? The main problem with defending yourself against the accusation that you're a pedophile is that you come across defensive even if you're completely correct. Even if every fact is on your side, optically, it's a subject where you will always appear to be on the back foot. Now, one of the things that you can do to increase the image of you being on the back foot, of you being defensive, of you being kind of like nervous and so on, is to come with a pre-prepared list of wrongs to rebut. This is one of the problems with debating people acting in bad faith. They'll rattle off a bunch of things that you have to respond to, try to distract you from one core point, you know? They probably said dozens of things about me that are just factually wrong, and dozens more that I could easily clarify. But to have all that locked up in my head going on there, all I would think is, I have to say this, I have to say that. What you need to do is be in the moment. Go on in there, say, hey, you know, I got the impression I got a really bad rap, and I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've said looks pretty bad without context, and maybe even with some context, but I'd like to explain it to you if you'll give me a moment. And you answer questions. That's how you handle it. Thanks, guys. Could you elaborate on the age of consent lowered with socialism thing that keeps getting spread around? Sure. Before I even had a stream, years and years ago, 2018, 17, I don't even know, a while ago, people in Destiny's Discord were doing what people in Destiny's community do, which is arguing everything. You know, they do love that over there. Uh, Talks on the age of consent, I remember being a pretty common discussion because at the time Destiny was doing quite a run with pedos like Ski. You know how it is in his community. Imagine that, but like concentrated in a Discord server, right? You can understand. So anyway, people were talking about the factors that make the age of consent necessary, which are, by the way, if you're young, it's easy to take advantage of you. Simple as, right? And I said, and this is a position that I now disagree with, by the way, but I said that under socialism, because economic inequities would be rectified, I imagine that you could argue the age of consent being 16 or something like that, because you no longer have the innate economic disparity between adults and kids. This is, by the way, the age of consent in the UK. So basically what I was saying was, in the future, the indeterminate future, hundreds or thousands or whatever years from now, when we have socialism, we might be able to live as the degenerate British do. Now, I disagree with this now. I no longer think that economic disparities are a primary factor in that, the degree to which young people can be exploited by older people. I think that it's much more socially weighted. And I think that's evidenced in large part by the fact that people are maturing, later than they used to. So nowadays, I feel like the age of consent should be increased and have some like Romeo and Juliet laws to cover the difference. But thank you for explaining. Yeah, of course. I'm not watching that, President Uwu. What should be increased to? I don't know. The line ultimately will always be an arbitrary legal figure. 21? I don't know. Dude, just try going on. I've already said that I'll go on if invited. Fair, it's just a compilation of how much you like horsecock. Yeah, I haven't made a secret of that. Sure, whatever, Five Lights. Have you tried getting Destiny trapped inside of a gravity well? What the fuck does that mean? Like, as a way of getting him out of my hair, I use a series of hijinks and japers to trick him into entering some kind of pocket where he'll be indefinitely suspended in a. Is that the? I suppose that's a way. What the fuck does that mean? No, he's got a point. Just keep him in a Pokeball. Okay. Have you considered using sorcery to curse destiny to the ninth dimension? Yeah, just simply cast banishment, the the D&D spell. It'll do it. Careful, Destiny's watching. Oh shit! Yeah, now he knows. Everyone scatter. I've always believed, Vaush, that if you're no longer having teen in your age and start 20 something, you're at least capable of deciding for yourself how you ought to date and who. A little incoherent, but look, the this discussion is always like really muddled. My line has always been this, okay? Excuse me. I don't think there's ever going to be a point in my life where I'm not going to see women who are like 20 something and think they're hot. And if I, through some, this actually happens a lot with like gays, with some, God willing, I age well, and I'm like 50 and I'm at a bar and there's some like 23-year-old chick who wants to get absolutely slammed. Okay. For me, the weirdness is like dating someone of that age, you know? Because with regards to slamming, I've been doing that since I was 15. Okay, whatever. That just seems like a permanent feature of my life. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The problem is if you're being either A, predatory about it, obviously, or B, dating. Because, if a 20-something-year-old gets like laid at a bar with an older person, okay, or whatever. But dating introduces all of these weird forms of control. You know what I mean? That to me is the weird bit. That's why people give Leonardo DiCaprio shit. I think it's good to avoid that. I mean, I guess it's not always, but like I can understand like if true love reigns, you find some incredible, things work out. I guess I don't know, but I feel like even now I don't really have much to talk about with young 20 somethings. I do think that Yandrius. I don't know, Kan the astronomer. Bit odd. Vaush was slamming at 15, like 16 with car in a place for privacy, but 15. Whoa, 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 whoa! 15's a fine time to have sex. What do you want from me? What do you want? Whoa, 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 whoa! What do you want? If you're 15, like you're not. I mean, you're thinking about it at 15. Ah, there it is. There's another clip. Well, that's how it is, Mr. Loud. I mean, maybe anal monger. Yeah. That's not good, CDM adept. Destiny subreddits literally already started clipping. With respect, you can assume that's always the case. You don't need to let me know. That's fine. It's okay. It's not like I'm not aware of it. It's just like I don't even know what I've said the stream. Oh wait, did they get the gravity pocket thing? Did they get the gravity well thing? Now he's got to be ready for it. Only the first book, Five Lights. You discovered his true weakness, Lamau. Yeah, gravity magic. Exactly. What you fab to is none of my business, but maybe be more careful about keeping your porn out of the public eye. Thank you, Shifty JT. I appreciate your sage wisdom in this troubled time. That's true, Amelia Squillia. That would be incredibly embarrassing. Yeah. Ethan's invitation to you was pretty earnest, all things considered. It could have been a lie, or maybe he changed his mind, but he did say all you had to do was DM on Insta. I don't use Insta. Why? I feel like this is an effort, knowingly or otherwise, to make me jump through hoops. Oh, here, Scrabble and defend. Like, what? Just invite me on or not? I don't know. Got an email? You're talking about me? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Ask Tempest for your password. Yeah, exactly. I have to get my editors on board with it. Well, thank you for letting me know, Tempest. Are you worried this could be career ending or the end of your credibility among leftists? No, and there wasn't any credibility among leftists. I already had like no allies in this space. No and inapplicable, I'd say. That's what people want, I think. I think one of the things that frustrates people who attack me in bad faith is that I don't cower from the bad faith arguments. A lot of people couldn't deal with the harassment or the like vile character assassinations, so they would have to retreat from it or whatever, thus giving the implication that they're hiding from something. But the frustration is that I am very presently defending all of it or adding context or, correcting deliberate dishonesty. Uh, and as a consequence of that, people keep saying, Vaush, he's still around. Vaush, he's still around. Yeah, I've been remarkably relevant in spite of the hampering. What does Shoe on Head think? Well, Shoe on Head did once make a joke on Twitter a while back about how I want to be the horse. So I think that Shoe on Head is actually like a linchpin, uh, you know, ally on that specific issue. Very powerful. Oh, deism accountant. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. Benjamin, it's been like 2 hours. I don't know. Yeah, like 6 years ago, deism accountant. Have there been any updates with Contra ever? No. I doubt there ever will be. Superjet guy, those stats don't really reflect changes that have been made within the hours, or even the past few days. It's not really relevant. No, Dragon Jake, nor am I interested in it. One of the reasons why I can do this and other people can't is that a lot of people feel a need when people are shit-talking them to observe it directly. If I observed directly all the people who hated me, then I would never have time for stream because the number of people who hate me is so substantial that I would just have to spend all my time doing that. It's pointless internet self-harm. If people have real substantive criticisms for me, you know, like something new that I haven't addressed or something like that, you know, then of course that's valuable. But if it's just buzzing noise, all it really does is make you feel bad by engaging with it. Because I'm a Fully Cooley fan, Icky Tree. Of course it gets me down sometimes, Turtle Totem. You know, I'm not perfect. But you know, obviously it's a skill you need to develop if you're going to have contentious engagements online. Another person who's very good at it, by the way, Cenk Uygur, very good at it. He is so capable of dealing with negativity. That's a talent he has. A lot of people were defending you in H3 chat. I know. Yeah, I saw. Some screenshots of it were posted in the Discord while I was getting a haircut. Um, that there were a lot of people, presumably you guys, in their chat defend. For, you know, I don't think it ultimately made a tremendous difference, but it means a lot, and I appreciate that. I know that I don't make it very easy for you guys to speak positively of me, in any context. Just stammered my crazy there, Jesus. I don't think it's easy for you guys to be positive about me in public, but you know, when you are, it really makes me happy. There's probably a large overlap, ectoplasmic. I like the part where he said this is a pedophile community. Yeah, did he say that with regards to there being a lot of transgenders here? Is that what he meant? Curious. Um, yeah, it's not great. Oh fuck, did he really? Yeah, he did. Or at least it was gestured at, I think. But yeah, that's the level we're on at the moment, I'm afraid. I literally said it? Yeah, okay. I saw someone say Dan mentioned that child slavery had at least a little social utility. I did I without seeing it myself, I can't know. I did see people saying that their engagement with this with the child slavery thing was to like implicitly defend child slavery's utility, which is like okay, like arguments like that are why I made that hypothetical to begin with. He also weirdly said you were one of Hassan's people. Okay. This had better not be some weird spite thing because I'm like anti-Israel or so. I don't know. Like that's weird. Like what? Where is that coming from? Do you mean like leftists broadly? Ethan meant leftist. He named you, Destiny, and Hassan as the three big leftists. Well, what do words even mean then? What? Leaving aside Destiny being included there, so all left-leaning streamers are Hassan types? I guess he's the largest figure in the space. I think Hassan would disagree with that assessment of me and my content, though. Okay. Okay, you don't need to let me know, Kolawai. Thank you. Actually, I am glad that I saw this one. This is probably pretty true. You know, given everything that I've said about not really being able to trust other people, I probably shouldn't say this, but I am going to say it, even though I'm only setting myself up for harm. And the thing I'm going to say is, I think Ordinary Gamers is pretty cool. I think Mutahar is pretty cool, actually. He's been good to me in the past. We talked for a while about politics stuff. He wanted to, like, ask my opinion on something. He's been quite, like, kind and charitable to me in the past. So, yeah. Now that I've said that, it feels virtually guaranteed that I sort of get punished for it. But, you know, I do feel that way. Shark is nice too. That goes without saying. I've only ever had good engagements with Shark. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, for sure. You mean Black Vaush? No. I'm White Shark. Get it straight. All right. Has Muda reached out? No, and I wouldn't expect him to. Sorry, I'm pretty tired. I haven't been sleeping much lately, but you all knew that. You know, I feel like hosting anyone wouldn't be taken very well. No, Shark streaming. I'm gonna host Shark. I love you all very much. I'll stream tomorrow, blah de blah. You know how it is. I'll defer to you guys in your opinion. Do you think that it would be a good idea to leave this video up on the main channel so that it shows adjacent to the other videos? This is such a public character assassination that I feel like having something that obvious to point to, I feel like that might be a good idea. I normally wouldn't. Normally it would be released on the second channel as, you know, like a relevant bit to respond to it. But in this case, unless Tempest objects. Tempest, Ryan, are either of you present? Do you have any opinions on that? Not to put you guys out of a job. I know that editing is what I pay you for. But, you know. You did it with the Contra Cat Black thing? Yeah, that's true. I'm here, we can cut out the stream waiting screen. Can you do that even if I just leave the VOD up? Can you edit a VOD? Is that possible? You can, can't you? Yeah, I don't know how to, but you can. Okay. Interesting. All right, okay. Then I'm going to send you guys over to Shark and leave that to my beloved editors. I love you all very much. I'll read the donations tomorrow. You're beautiful. Please take care. Again, I'm sorry about this. You know, I like arguing with people. I don't like arguing with people over stuff like this for reasons which I hope are really obvious and straightforward to all of you. I don't get any joy out of having to beat back all this nonsense. But I really do care about, you know, the foundation, right? The underlying stuff, the rhetoric, the politics, the life advice. I care about it. And when stuff like this happens, the main way in which it hurts me is that it makes me feel like I can't do that as much because it pulls my time and attention away from that, my energy away from that. And because, of course, it detracts from the spread of my audience and words generally, which I mean, I want to talk to people. I want to reach people. Even if they just watch and like don't donate or whatever. Like I want to get across to people. All right, I'm going to send you all over to Shark. I love you guys very much. Blah de blah. You heard the bit. Before I do, though, just so every stream gets tainted by this, aren't these just the cutest shirts? They're soft as pajamas. I got a few more of them. You've seen them before in yellow and charcoal. They have a dropped shoulder, see? I like how much drapery there is on them, but they still feel really good. They feel nice. I like them a lot. They've got a nice shine to them too, you know? It's very, very comfortable. Your play button is crooked. I know the cats jumped on it. All right. What brand is that? Proto 101. They're Seattle based. But they ship anywhere. I love you guys. See you soon.